In this video, we are going to compare Power Automate Desktop with UiPath Studio when it comes to web scraping. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a flow in Power Automate Desktop to scrape some YouTube data, and then we're going to set up the same flow in UiPath Studio, and we're going to see how they compare. So the first thing we're going to do is set up a flow in Power Automate Desktop. So I have Power Automate Desktop open, and the data that we're going to scrape is my YouTube videos from my YouTube channel. So specifically on my YouTube channel, under the Manage Videos section, so that's what this tab is here. This is my Manage Videos section. And we're just going to set up a flow to basically scrape the name of or the title of the video. And I also want to grab the date that I published the video. And we're just going to scrape the first page. You can see there's multiple pages. I don't care about that. It's going to be a very basic flow to scrape the title and the date and put them in columns on an Excel file. So that's the goal. And we're going to see how does Power Automate Desktop do this versus UiPath. So let's hop back to Power Automate Desktop and let's start building this flow. So we know the first thing that we need is to launch that specific web page. So what we need is our browser action. So we're going to open this in Chrome. So we're going to go with launch new Chrome. So we'll drag that over here. And then we're going to launch a new instance. We need to grab our initial URL and let's make the window state as maximized. Now, one thing right away, one difference is that with Power Automate, you can grab the URL and put it right into that action. But what's going to happen is it's going to fail because Power Automate doesn't like this URL right here. So if I copy this URL and paste it into a new tab, it's going to open the same page. But Power Automate doesn't like all of these extra details on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to test this here. I'm going to grab everything from this URL up to the videos /upload. So let's grab that and let's paste it into a new tab just to make sure that it will work. And it does. Great. So what I want to do is I want to paste that URL in here and not include any of the extra parts of the URL after that because I tested it earlier and it does not work. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to save that. And we can save our flow. We only have one action, but before we do anything else, we want to run this and make sure that it will actually launch that page. So we'll click run. We'll give it a second and make sure that it opens up, and it does. Perfect. So that takes care of the first step. So now let's go back to Power Automate and let's add our next action. So I already typed in browser over here and we can see we have these web data extraction. So we can actually grab this extract data from web page and drag it over here. So we go over to our YouTube page here and we wait for Power Automate to start interacting with this page here. Now, just a heads up, if you're using dual monitors, if you have a monitor attached to your primary screen, it could possibly disrupt the interaction with your browser. So just take note of that. Now we also have the little pop-up preview. And so what we're going to do to grab our title is we just hover over it. And once it looks like it's kind of grabbing around the text that you want, then you right click and then you extract element value and then extract the text. Now we're going to do that one more time. We did that at the very top video in the list. We're going to do that with the next one as well. And then right click, extract element value and text. Now, once we do that, we can see that Power Automate will recognize this as a list of videos, and it's going to grab all the rest from our page. So that's a nice feature that it can do that. And now what we want to do is we have our first column, and we want to grab the date, as I mentioned, as a second column. Now, the thing with Power Automate is that it can't grab this specific date right here. It can only grab where it says uploaded, and it can also grab the entire, essentially a little box with the date and the text that says uploaded. So all we can do is what Power Automate will allow us to do. So we do the right click there and extract the text, and we'll see what that looks like in a minute. But now you can see that just by grabbing the first one, Power Automate knows to grab all of them. And you can see here now it splits them into two values. We have value 1 and then we have value 2 here. So we've got all the text that we want. And you can see that in the second column, which is the date column, there is the date right there, August 13th, 2023. So it is able to grab that, but it grabs all this other additional data here that we don't really want. But we can adjust that with some additional actions later in our flow, but that's not what we're going to do. We're just doing a basic comparison here. So we can go ahead and click finish. And then we're back here again, and you can see where it says store data mode. We want to store this as in an Excel spreadsheet. So we can click that, and then we can click save. All right, now that completes this flow. That's all that we want to do. So let's go ahead and run and see what happens. We can save first, give it a second to save. While it's saving, we can hop back over here. We can close down a window, and then we can go ahead and click run. And we want to see what will happen. Now it's running in my other window, but it only takes a second to do this. So now it's finished. And then it did open the Excel spreadsheet. It opened it in my other window. So I'll bring it over here for you to see. And here's our two columns. So in one column, we do have the title of the video. And if we scroll down, we can see that we have all of the videos from that first page. And then in the second column, we have the date, but obviously you have to go searching for it. So additional actions would be required to clean this up so that it only retains the date. And then the other thing you'll notice is that Power Automate doesn't give us any column headers. So that's it for Power Automate Desktop. Now I want to go over and check out UiPath. So let's go ahead and minimize all of this. And I am going to go and grab UiPath, and we'll bring it right over here. So this is UiPath Studio, and we want to do the same exact thing that we did in Power Automate Desktop. So what we're going to do, very first activity is going to be, again, a browser. So we need to open Chrome. So I'm going to go ahead and search for browser, and I'm going to grab the use application browser, drag it over here. Now for selecting browser, in this case, you do have a few different options, but a quick one is to just click indicate application to automate. So in order to do that, we need to have something open. So I'm going to have that same page open here. And then we're going to go ahead and click. And then we go ahead and click anywhere to select the browser. Now it's going to go ahead and load that URL in there. And we can go ahead and run this and test that to make sure that it does open that. And once we know that that works, we are going to need our next activity. So let's try searching and see if we get extract. So here is under activities, app and web automation, extract table data. So let's try that one. We're going to drag it right underneath here inside of this launch browser action. Now the next thing that we need to do is click on indicate in Chrome. So we need to select the values, and then also you're going to see down here where it says extract to, we're going to set that to notebook. So we can go ahead and do that right now. And what I'm going to do is select notebook, and I'm going to indicate in Excel. So what I want to do is, or what I'm doing is using the built-in notebook that is connected to UiPath. And within this notebook, I am going to actually create a new tab, and that's where we'll put our data. So we'll just create a new tab and we'll just call it YouTube extract. So once we've named it, then we can go up to the top here and we can click confirm. All right, and click OK. And now we can see it will extract to, and where it's extracting to, that particular YouTube extract tab, and then starting from A1. So let's go ahead and click this indicate in Chrome, and we get our little table extraction pop up here. So that's great. And then what we do is we do add new column. And now we can do the same thing as we did in Power Automate Desktop by hovering over to see what kind of text in objects it's recognizing. So here we want to grab our text. So what we do is we control click on there, and then we're given two options, and we want to extract the text. So we go ahead and do that. And right away, we can see that UiPath recognizes everything. So we only selected the first one, unlike Power Automate, where we had to select the second one before it would grab all of the rest. It does that action based on us just selecting the first video in the list. So that's one difference that we have there. And if you check over here, you can see that it's asking us to confirm, like, is this right? It grabbed 30 rows, so all the 30 videos on this page, and we can click confirm. And then one thing else that we can do is you can see where it says new column 0, we can rename that. We can give it a column header so that it shows up in our spreadsheet with a header. So we're going to go with video title. Okay. Now let's do the date. So what we want to do in the little window is add a new column. And let's see if UiPath interacts any different with this column. It's interacting the same way. It allows me to grab the uploaded text, doesn't allow me to grab just the date. But let's see what happens if I hover over this, control, left click, it grabs all of them. That's great. So we can click confirm, and then let's go ahead and rename our column to date uploaded. So now we have our column name in there. And let's go ahead and save and close, go back to UiPath, and now we're going to run this. So we're going to save first, and then we're going to run, and we're going to see what our spreadsheet looks like. All right, now it's finished running. So to see the results, we can go up to our notebook, and let's open that. And it opened in another screen, so I'm going to bring it over here, and let's see what it looks like. So there you can see our headers, video title, and date uploaded. And then we can see it's got the text, and it's got the text of the title, and it's got the text of date uploaded. And it looks very nice because it just gave us the date and the text that says uploaded, but it didn't give us anything else. So it was able to extract that in a very clean way. Final comparison of the end product that both flows gave us. So this is UiPath, and what we'll do is we'll get our spreadsheet from Power Automate over here. So just drag this into the window here. And right away, two things we notice, of course, is just how clean and clear the UiPath report is versus Power Automate. UiPath gave us our column headers that allowed us to choose what we wanted to put as our column headers. And it spaced these cells out nice and neatly, of course, and then Power Automate gives us all these extra characters in here when we were just trying to extract the date. And of course, with UiPath, it also inserted the word uploaded, but that's not as big of a deal as having to work with these random extra characters that are in this cell. We have the fact that Power Automate gives us a entirely unique Excel sheet, which we can just rename and save it, versus how UiPath enables us to put it in the UiPath notebook as a new tab and name that tab whatever we want to name it. Those aren't necessarily, one's not necessarily better than the other. And UiPath, we could configure it so that we can have it in its separate sheets, which would just require an additional action or two to set up. So the minimal actions, we did this in UiPath and Power Automate, both requiring just setting up two distinct actions, selecting the browser, launching the browser, and then the actual web scraping portion. So both require minimal setup, of course, but both also require additional actions should you want to do something further, such as in the case of Power Automate, dealing with the extra characters in here and extracting just the date. And in UiPath, having it put into its own workbook versus the UiPath workbook on the new tab. So I hope you found this video useful, and let me know how you use UiPath or Power Automate or any other tool for web scraping. All right, thanks everyone for watching. And as always, we'll see you in that next video. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.